I would call the meeting order for the Sacramento County Planning Commission on April 12th, 2021. Can we start with the roll call?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Tom.
Here.
Martinson.
Here.
Rathel.
Here.
Satishi. And Chair Shelby.
Here.
And you have a quorum.
Great. Start the opening statement.
Okay. In compliance with directives of the County, State, and Center for Disease Control and Prevention, this meeting is live streamed and closed to in-person public participation. Temporary procedures are subject to change pursuant to guidelines related to social distancing and minimizing person-to-person contact. To make a verbal comment at today's meeting, dial 916-875-2500 and follow the prompts to be placed in queue for a specific agenda item or off-agenda matter. And when the chair opens public comment for a specific agenda item or off-agenda matter, callers will be transferred from the queue into the meeting to make a verbal comment. Written comments are always accepted. Feel free to send your email comment to boardclerk@saccounty.net, and your comment will be routed to the board and filed in the record.
All right, thank you. We can start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We call the first item on the agenda.
Yes, the first item is for a development plan review located at 14805 Reynosa Drive, approximately a third of a mile east of the Murrieta South Parkway and Jackson Road intersection in the Cosumnes community. And the environmental doc is a prior environmental impact report and mitigation, monitoring, and reporting program.
Good evening, Planning Commission. This is Jessie Shen, lead planner for the project, and I will be providing a brief presentation of the request before you. Next slide, please. The project site is located at 14805 Reynosa Drive, approximately 0.3 miles east of the Murrieta South Parkway and Jackson Road intersection in the Rancho Murrieta community of the greater Cosumnes community. The project site is 0.26 acres and is zoned RD5 with planned development overlay. This existing zoning designation and lot configuration of the project site was established through entitlements approved by the board in September 8th of 1993 for the Rancho Murrieta South Phase 2 project. The project site is identified as Lot 202 of this former project, and pursuant to the Rancho Murrieta Plan Development Ordinance is subject to development plan review prior to building permit issuance. Next slide, please. The project proposes to construct an approximately 3,200 square foot single-story detached single-family structure on the project site. No grading and/or fill is proposed with the project, and the project would result in the removal of 2 existing oak trees, and an additional 2 trees would experience canopy encroachments of 5% and 25% each. The 2 oak trees proposed for removal are noted as red dots in the site plan to the left and are the blue dots just left of the outlined building envelope in the graphic to the right. It is the removal of these trees that is resulting in the elevation of this development plan review to the Planning Commission. The 2 trees that would experience encroachment into the canopy are shown in green on the site plan to the left. A total of 36 inches of tree replacement mitigation is identified for these tree impacts, and the Rancho Murrieta Association has indicated they will take full responsibility for the planting, maintenance, and warranty of replacement trees in connection to this project. Next slide, please. The project is consistent with all applicable county plans and would be compatible with the existing single-family residential land uses in the developed neighborhood. The project is one of the last build-outs of the former Rancho Murrieta South Phase 2 project. No grading or fill is proposed with the project, and impacts to trees would be mitigated for, and RMA agrees to take full responsibility of that. The design review administrator finds the project in substantial compliance with the countywide design guidelines, and the consumer CPAC also recommended approval of the project. Next slide, please. As such, staff is recommending approval of the project and that the Planning Commission take the actions outlined on the slide. Staff is available for any questions, and the applicant is on the line as well. Thank you.
You have any questions for staff?
Nope, I'm good.
None for me, thank you.
Okay. This is from the Office of Planning and Environment, so there's no applicant, right? Or, no, there is an applicant here. Can you bring the applicant forward? Can you bring the applicant? Is the applicant here?
Yeah, this is Russ.
Do you want to swear in this applicant and all the other applicants as well at the same time?
Yes. Okay. For all of the applicants on all three of the projects, if you wish to address the commission, please stand to be sworn, and please raise your right hand, and the appropriate response is I do. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give this commission is the truth, so help you God? If you do not swear, do you so affirm?
I do.
Okay. And before you begin your comments, if you could please state your name for the record and the statement, I have been sworn. Thank you.
Do we have the applicant here?
Yeah, this is Ruslan Baczynski, and I've been sworn.
Okay, and you're okay with all the conditions of approval?
Yes, I have no further comments or any kind of comments.
Okay. Do we have any other questions for the applicant and the commission? Don't hear any. We'll have a public comment. Do you have any public comment on this item?
No, we do not have any public comments on this item.
Okay. We can close the public comment section and we can entertain a motion.
I'll move staff recommendation. This is Kara.
This is Alan. Okay, there you go.
I'm sorry, was that Commissioner Hom on the second?
No, that was
Commissioner Rathel.
Oh, okay, thank you so much. And then for the vote, Commissioners Hom,
yes.
Martinson,
Yes.
Rathel,
Yes.
Tatishi, and Chair Shelby.
Yes.
And the motion passes unanimously. With Commissioner Tatishi absent. And then shall I start item 2?
Yes.
Okay. Item number 2 is for special development permit, amendment, and design review. Located at 4740 Sun Run Lane, located south of Sunset Avenue and west of the Folsom Lake Recreation, Mississippi Bar area in the Fair Oaks community. And the environmental doc is that it's exempt.
Thank you, Lydia, and good evening, commissioners. This is Meredith Holsworth, and I'm the project manager for the Phoenix Place HOA Gatehouse conversion project. Next slide, please. The project site is located at 4740 Sun Run Lane, south of Sunset Avenue and west of the Folsom Lake Recreation area in the Fair Oaks community. It's developed with an HOA community and the existing gatehouse at the entrance. The project site is on RD2 with a parkway corridor overlay and is surrounded by other recreation and residential zoning. Next slide, please. The request is for a special development permit from a prior 1979 permit to allow the existing gatehouse structure to be converted to a rental unit that would deviate from the building setbacks. Here's a site plan on the screen showing the existing gatehouse and the patio and parking area that would serve it. Next slide, please. This is a photo showing the front of the existing gatehouse from Sunset Avenue. Next slide. The project is exempt from the provisions of CEQA. There are no alterations proposed to the exterior of the existing gatehouse, which is located on the open space lot of the subdivision. The applicant stated in their application that the intent is to provide additional security for the community, to utilize an existing structure for needed housing in the area, and to provide an additional revenue source for the HOA. The gatehouse would deviate from the residential yard setback measured from the internal private drive that provides access throughout the community. Next slide, please. The Fair Oaks CPAC reviewed the project on February 3rd, and that's actually of 2021, so I apologize for the typo on the slide, but they did review it and recommended unanimous approval. The design review administrator recommended that the project be found in substantial compliance with the countywide design guidelines, and staff is recommending approval with conditions. Next slide. Staff is recommending that the Planning Commission makes the following actions: to recognize the exempt status of the request under CEQA, to approve the special development permit amendment, and to find the project in substantial compliance with the design guidelines. And that concludes my presentation, but I'm happy to take questions, and we have the applicant on the call as well. Thank you.
Any questions for staff?
Chair Shelby, this is Alan. I have a couple of questions for Meredith.
Sure, go ahead.
Good evening, Meredith. Quick question for you. I'm guessing this is just, there's no actual construction work going on here. It's just allowing someone to basically reside in the gatehouse versus any actual work. Is that correct?
That's correct. They are proposing some interior improvements, but nothing, no new development and no changes to the exterior of the building.
Okay. And then I'm gonna, and this is the reason for me asking, because I know current, most planning jurisdictions and DOTs are now with a lot of this Amazon and everything else, a lot of delivery trucks. There's no turnaround because somebody comes up, the gate doesn't open. The only way to get out is to back up on the public right of way. So as far as planning and DOT, you guys are cool with that?
So this would be served however the rest of the HOA community is, however they receive packages and that kind of thing.
But you know what I'm asking? You know what I'm asking though, right? Because if the gate is closed and there's no one to open the gate, how's at the Amazon truck going to turn around?
I don't believe that came up with DOT's comment letter, but if you want to ask that question of the applicant and see if they have planned for that.
Okay, but planning, you guys thought about that and are okay with the backup on the public right of way, is I'm guessing?
Chris, are you on the line?
Yes, I am on the line, thanks. Yeah, I can't say that had come up as part of the review with the Department of Transportation, at least that I'm aware of. I assume that there is an area for deliveries. I'm assuming that there are folks that show up to deliver that perhaps have to wait to get through the gates. So again, I'm hopeful that maybe the applicant has a response to this question.
Okay.
This is Derek Spalding for the applicant, and I have been sworn. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, there is room for if a vehicle cannot enter the gate, which all the delivery trucks do enter the gate. But if in the event they cannot, there is room to back up outside of the travel lane and back up and turn around if need be.
Okay, back up and turn around without getting into the public right of way.
I think it is in the right of way, but it's outside of the Sunset Avenue travel lane.
Okay, so okay, yeah, that I'm not so much worried about the I guess the sun run lane is more at the Sunset. But if you say they can make the turnaround and all that without backing up traffic on Sunset, then I'm good.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like the bike lane becomes about 12 feet wide or 15 feet wide in that location.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like planning and DOT were too concerned. So as long as they're cool, I'm good with it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
Oops, do we have the applicant here? Are you okay with all the conditions of approval?
Yeah, this is Derek Spalding again. Yes, I am okay with the conditions of approval and appreciate staff's efforts on this project.
Do we have any public comment on this item?
There are no public comments.
Okay, we'll close the public comment section. We can entertain a motion.
This is Alan. Since I did most of the time, I'll make a motion to for staff recommendations.
I'll second that, Commissioner Shelby.
Okay. And for the vote, Commissioners Hom,
Yes.
Martinson,
Yes.
Raythel,
Yes.
and Commissioner Tatishi, and Chair Shelby.
Yes.
And the motion passes with Chair Shelby, or I'm sorry, with Commissioner Shelby absent.
No.
I'm sorry, Commissioner
Tatishi,
Tatishi, I apologize, absent. And,
Thank you.
Number 3.
okay, item number 3 is for a conditional use permit and design review located at 4640 Fair Oaks Boulevard, 380 feet east of Gordon Lane in the Arden Arcade community, and the environmental doc is that it's exempt.
Hi, good evening, everyone. This is Desiree Fox, project manager for project number PLMP 2020-00242. Confirming you all can hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you. Great.
All right, next slide, please. The project site is located at 4640 Fair Oaks Boulevard in the RD4 zone within the Arden Arcade community. The project requests a conditional use permit to allow a new wireless rooftop telecommunication facility, and it is our review to determine compliance with the countywide design guidelines. On this slide, you have an area of the site. Should be noted the project site is 0.61 acres and is developed with a 2-story veterinarian facility. Adjacent to the site to the east and the south is Jesuit High School. Immediately to the west is a vacant residential parcel with RD4 zoning. And then to the north is a residential subdivision. Next slide. The proposed wireless facility will be installed within a rooftop cupola, in addition to an existing attic, which is also on top of the roof. The facility will also include a backup generator in the rear of the property adjacent to the existing fence. And overall, the wireless communication facility will include 470 square feet of leasing area and that will accommodate 9 antennas and 18 radios, associated cabin and equipment, and as mentioned, a diesel backup generator that's 30 kilowatts. Next slide. Here on your screen is a layout for how the equipment is divided in the associated leasing area. So furthest to the west, the dash line indicates where the equipment will be housed in the existing attic, and that's 122 square feet of leasing area. In the center is where the 9 antennas will be housed within the proposed cupola. So that is, the cupola is not existing, it will be built with this project. And that is 225 square feet. And then all the way to the, on the ground level to the east is the generator, and that is 123 square feet of leasing area. Next slide. Here's an overview of the generator, which is once again on the ground. It will be secured with a new 6-foot CMU wall, and the existing tree will not be impacted by the establishment of the generator, which will be placed on the concrete slab. Next slide. The project was reviewed at the RMRK CPAC on January 28th. They recommended the approval of the proposed project. On February 11th, the DRAC reviews the project. They had some comments about the tree and just confirming where the location of the trash receptacles would be, as the generator is going to be placed where the existing trash cans are. Staff and the applicant confirmed that the trash cans will be moved to the west, the side yard, the western side yard, and they will still be accessed by the existing facility. Next slide. Here are the elevations to give you some context on the proposed cupola and where all the equipment will be housed. The northeast elevation shows you the cupola that will have the 9 antennas for the project. Also, if you look a little bit to the right, there's a dash line which shows you approximately like where the attic space will be. You can also see where the generator is in context to the existing 2-story veterinarian facility. Next slide. Staff's recommendation tonight to the Planning Commission is to recognize the exempt status of the project under the applicable section, approve the conditional use permit, and find the project insubstantial with the county-wide design guidelines, all subject to the finding and conditions which are listed in the staff report. And that concludes staff introduction of the item. Thank you.
Do we have any questions for staff?
Chair Shelby, this is Alan again.
Yes.
I just, this is more of a comment than anything. I just maybe comment for the applicant is, you know, since it seems like the street face has a really attractive hip roof on it, just if you, if the applicant might consider putting a hip roof on the cupola versus a gable end. And that's it. Just something for thought and consideration.
All right, when we bring the applicant forward, we can ask them that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for staff? Now we can bring the applicant forward. Do we have the applicant here?
Yes, it looks like there's a Mr. Nick Tagas. I'll unmute his microphone. And it looks like there we go.
Yes. Applicant, and I have been sworn.
Yeah. Did you hear Commissioner Ham's question? Do you need us to repeat it?
Yes.
Commissioner Hahn, what was the question?
Oh, it's really not a question. It's just something, a comment for for consideration. Just seems like on the street face view on the entry, you have a really nice hip roof that is the primary public view of the building. And I'm just thinking, you know, would you consider doing a hip roof on the cupola versus just a gable end? And that's it. Just something for thought and consideration.
Yes, it looks like there's a Mr. Nick Tagas. I'll unmute his microphone. And it looks like there we go.
Okay, thank you. it seems like it could be tied to the building a little bit more cohesively. But again, just for consideration. I mean, I'm not about to tell you how to design your building, but just food for thought.
Thank you. To the architecture and engineering group, and have them weigh in and see if the current of what's going to be inside of the cupola.
Thank you.
Yes. Any other questions
And-
from?
Yeah, are you okay with all the conditions of approval?
Yeah.
So I can hear that.
Liddy with the clerk of the board's office. Mr. Tagus, can you please repeat your reply?
I did not. Someone else
Okay,
might have a question for myself.
Yeah. My question is, are you okay with all the conditions of approval? Did we lose him or?
This is Liddy with the clerk of the board's office. Mr. Tagus, it seems like we're having some intermittent issues with your microphone. If you can hear us,
I am not able to hear any other questions. If there's a phone number that I could call into, if there's.
Oh, actually, Chair Shelby asked if
Do
you
that.
were okay with all of the conditions.
Yes, and I did say that I was. Was that not clear?
No, it wasn't. Again, there's some intermittent issues with your
Applicant, yes.
with your mic. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any public comment on this item?
Nope, there are no public comments.
So Commissioner Shelby, this is Chris Pahuli. Just wanted to interject the comment that was received about potentially some changes to the roof of the cupola. If the applicant does request some changes, I think that we could probably handle it through a substantial compliance if that's proposed by the applicant based on the direction provided this evening.
Okay.
This is Bill Burke. I just want to weigh in. I didn't hear any direction from the commission. I heard one commissioner comment on a possible alternative way to construct this. So I just want to point out that there's no direction or condition being imposed here.
There's a suggestion. That's why I took it to Bill. That there's a suggestion for the applicant and nothing else.
Thank you.
That's correct, and that's why I mentioned that if there was a change that was brought forward by the applicant at a later date, it could be handled potentially through a substantial compliance determination.
All right. We'll close the public comment section. We can entertain a motion.
This is Alan once again. I'll make a motion to move staff recommendations.
I'll second this, Kara.
Okay, and for the roll call vote, Commissioner Hahn,
Yes.
Martinson,
Yes.
Rathel,
Yes.
Tatishi, and Chair Shelby.
Yes.
And the motion passes to approve staff recommendations with Commissioner Tatishi absent. And for item number 4, the planning director's report.
Yes. So again, this is Chris Pahuli. Wanted to provide the Planning Commission with just a couple of updates, things that have recently happened at the board and things that are upcoming. So the first is I did want to mention that on March 23rd, the Board of Supervisors approved a resolution to initiate a major amendment to the North Vineyard Station specific plan. The purpose of that amendment will be to potentially address transportation triggers in the specific plan document. We are working closely with the Department of Transportation to develop a recommended package and amendments to that plan. From there, it will go through a community outreach process and working with the Vineyard CPAC before eventually making its way onto the Planning Commission before heading on to the board. So wanted to note for you all that occurred last month. Just last week, the
What
board,
area was that again?
North Vineyard, the North Vineyard Station specific plan area. Also wanted to note that last week, the board took up the matter of the Ingle Road office conversion project. That was a project that was heard, I believe, a couple of months ago by the Planning Commission. It was, again, a proposal to convert a office building in the Carmichael community. It's in the Mission Oaks neighborhood preservation area, converted into a residential use. And that included a variance to the NPA, a use permit for residential in the BP zoning district, and a special development permit. That project, when it was heard by the Planning Commission, was a 2-2 vote. I think that was before Commissioner Rathel joined us, and so it went on to the board with no recommendation from the Planning Commission. The board decided to drop that item from their agenda, and they provided direction to the applicant to look at making some revisions to the project, including reducing the number of units from 18 to a lower number, as well as making some facade improvements to the property. So that is going to be worked on. As part of that, we are also going to review the environmental determination or environmental document that was prepared and perhaps make some changes there to the project. And the reason I bring it up is that with the board's direction and the applicant making some changes, that project will make its way back to the Planning Commission when it's ready before going back onto the Board of Supervisors. So heads up that will be coming at some point to the Planning Commission. And then the last item I'll note is that on the 28th of April, the board is taking up a couple of items that were previously heard by the Planning Commission, the Brookside Equestrian use permit, as well as the Eschaton use permit for a parking lot expansion. In addition to those two items, they're also going to be conducting a workshop on the Alberta specific plan. And there are a number of projects that are kind of in a holding pattern, given that there are some obstacles to moving them forward related to water supply, some of the transportation triggers similar to the ones that I mentioned for North Vineyard Station. And so the board will be conducting a workshop, providing some direction, and we'll see what direction we are going to be headed based on that workshop, and I'll circle back with the Planning Commission following that workshop with an update. So that concludes the Planning Director report.
All right, thank you. Next item.
For item number 5, it's miscellaneous scheduling items.
This is Chris Bahuli again. I don't have anything out of the ordinary to note here.
Okay.
Good.
And the last item is public comments, and there are no verbal public comments currently.
All right, then we will consider this meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Thanks. Good night.
Thank you. Have a nice night.
Good night.